We're delighted to be joined by President of Rugby India, Rahul Bose, ahead of the inaugural season of the Rugby Premier League. Rahul, thank you very much for your time. I can see that you've been busy as you're speaking to us from a moving car. Tell us how the idea of a rugby franchise league in India came about.
Actually, when I became president of Rugby India, I had already thought of this league 3 years prior to that, 7 years ago. And the reason for that, Vidur, was very simple. The reason for that was that when you look at the trajectory of any sport across the world, across the ages, across countries, across federations, there is always one thing that is absolutely common, and that is how long does it take for a sport to become world-class in that particular ecosystem, in that nation, in that federation? I'll give you a small example. Indian cricket started in 1932, the Test cricket, and their first significant series victory was in 1971. 40 years in an 8-nation sport at the time. So a 120-nation sport like rugby sevens, and you want to go from, right now our women are 10th in Asia, you want to go to becoming in the top 10 in the world. Are we talking 75 years? What are we talking? So the thing to do then is to say, what can compress? What can reduce this gap? What can accelerate the development? And the answer is a well-run, successful league. And by that, if you'll allow me, I can say that there are three, what should I say? There are two great engines of transformation that happen with a well-run league. Internally, there is an engine that happens with a well-run league, which is to do with players as well as infrastructure. 29th of July, this first RPL gets over. On the 29th of June. On the 30th of June, 6 team owners, 6 franchise owners from 6 cities will be sending their scouts all over the country looking for the next breed of successful rugby players from India. Just because you're in Chennai doesn't mean you can't go to Chandigarh looking for players. So each franchise will come back with 35 honhar ladke jo hai ki hum inko bana sakte hain. These guys could be terrific players for the future. And once you bring them to Chennai or to Bengaluru or to Hyderabad, then you say, okay, where's the field? Where will they practice? Where's the sports science center? Where is the rehab center? Where is the physical training place? Who's my strength and conditioning coach? Who's my physio? Who's my psychologist? My nutritionist? So there'll be 6 sub-infrastructure and software, human resources systems that will have to be put in place. And this will be done by the franchisees without the federation having to spend either time or money on it. So automatically what happens is that you have 6 small centers of hope for children, for youngsters to focus their dreams and ambitions on. Although the federation does work 20 times a multiple of this, still it is 6 more that were not there earlier. That's the internal engine. The external engine is between 10 to 50 million people will have watched this Rugby Premier League between the 15th and 29th of June. After that, imagine walking into a sponsor's office. A sponsor who had earlier said, rugby, what the hell is that? No fault of hers, no fault of his. We were never on television. We were never on OTT. Now, Star Sports Select, now Jio Hotstar, and suddenly everybody is saying, we know the game, welcome, let's talk. In fact, already what's happening with some of our sponsors is they're saying, we'd like to obviously partner with you on the Rugby Premier League, but we'd also like to give a portion of our funds to Rugby India and vice versa. So with these 2 engines, when a league is run well, and please, that's the qualifier, the league has to be run well. When a league is run well, these are the 2 transformative engines that will begin to work to compress that timeline, to collapse that weight, and to accelerate the development into a world-class rugby nation.
Well, Rahul, there have been several franchise leagues in India that have been launched in recent years, but not every one of them has been a success. What do you think viewers can expect from the Rugby Premier League as a spectacle?
Oh my God. It's made, okay, let me put this to you in a more structured fashion. Otherwise it'll sound like I'm biased. What are the 3 non-negotiables for a successful league? First, I believe that successful leagues are leagues with team sports. Individual sports are not so easily successful. There might be some, I can't think of any, where a league is based on tribalism. It's based on a kind of loyalty. It's based on team culture. It's based on fandom. Even if a team is losing, you sometimes find it has a massive fan following. We have examples in front of us. So it has to be, in my opinion, a team sport. Number two, it has to be incredibly exciting and engaging on television every 30 seconds. You can't be waiting 90 minutes for a goalless draw. You have to be hooked every 30 seconds. And I'll tell you why. You're a sports fan. I know that you're going to be watching this league. But if your sister or your uncle is walking by on the way to grabbing a glass of water from the kitchen, and they stop and they say, "Kya dekh rahe ho?" "Nahi, chacha ji, I'm watching rugby." And the guy just stands and watches for 5-10 seconds. And then something happens and then begins to sit down and watch. Zara pani lana yaar. That is the time we have. So in rugby, it's a 16-minute game during the Rugby Premier League. Each game is 16 short minutes, 4 minutes a quarter. And every minute and a half to 2 minutes, there is a score. So as my broadcasters would say, there's a dopamine hit every minute and a half to 2 minutes. In between those 100 seconds, there is somebody smashing into somebody, somebody making a break, somebody diving for the ball, and the audience is going, "Whoa, whoa." So I'm not even joking. This very aged but very respected politician was watching this game and told me, "Bachche, yahan pe to saas dene ke liye bhi fursat nahi hai." As a spectator. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Or have I been talking? Okay. So this is the second non-negotiable. It has to be incredibly exciting and gripping on television. And you have half a minute to 45 seconds to grip people into it. And the third thing is, it has to be world class. Am I watching the best in that sport in the world at that time? Or can I just switch to another channel and watch a much higher class of that sport being played? Because again, we've seen how many leagues have failed because the comparison between what they're watching in the league and what they can watch on any other OTT platform or on any other television channel is vastly different. So we have the 30 best rugby players on the planet who are nowhere but in India at this time. And there is no competitive sevens rugby being played in this window in the world, period. You want to watch world-class rugby? Come here. The added masala to this is that the avid rugby fan, forget about the first-time rugby fan, I'll get to that later. The avid rugby fan is watching a South African, a New Zealander, an Argentinian, and a Spaniard, 4 world-class players, all 4 of them World Cup participants and Olympians, playing with each other under an English coach. And who are the 6 coaches? The best in the world. The equivalent of Gary Kirsten and Rahul Dravid and Gautam Gambhir and Ricky Ponting, you know what I mean? So now I'll come to the first-time viewer. I know you're going to ask me that question. For the first-time viewer, what do you say? You say exactly what I said, what I heard the broadcasters tell me. They'd never seen the game. They went and saw the game at the Hong Kong Sevens, and I said, "What do you think?" I didn't say a word to them. I just kept quiet. "What do you think?" So easy to understand. I said, "What did you understand?" "You run like lightning, passing the ball with your teammates to dodge the other guys. If you get caught by them, smash them, pick the ball and go put it across the line for 5 points." I said, "Absolutely right." "And what if the opposition has the ball?" He said, "Smash them, take the ball, go across." In essence, that is the game. All the niceties that you need to think about, you can think about later, which is why our campaign, which we are breaking today, has 5 things to know about rugby: run, pass, tackle, kick, score. Run, pass, tackle, kick, score. That's all you need to know. But for the first-time viewer, what is most important is I should not feel threatened. It should be easy to understand. It should be easy to follow, and it should be bloody exciting. I believe that if you show people the best in your profession, They might not know the game. They might not know cooking. They might not know cinema, but they know when they're in the presence of the best. And that's my belief that people will always intuitively say, nahi yaar, ye log sahi hai.
What does this league exactly mean for the sport in India?
This league is not about razzmatazz. This league is not about international players. This league is not about being the best in the world. This league, the beating heart of this league is to transform the Indian rugby ecosystem. It's very simple. Directly, of course, at the auction, these players are getting, auctioned for sums of money that they could never have imagined they would get for a small 15-day tournament with 10 matches. That's number one. That's the easiest part of it. But as I told you, with these 6 sub-infrastructures taking place all over the country, what is the child going to think once they see the game and say, oh, I love this game, I'd like to play it? Where will they go? Of course, they can go to any of their districts, but now they have the logo of, say, Mumbai Dreamers or Delhi Reds. Will not mean that these guys are into construction or these guys are into fantasy gaming. What it'll mean for them is hope, pathway, success, financial stability. Their parents will think that. So automatically, very much like the IPL, why should we mince words? Very much like the IPL, what it will do, because I don't know whether you know this, but 99.9% of all our players are very poor. Rugby players they come from the bottommost layer of the socioeconomic pyramid. So when you have something like this happening at the IPL, just multiply that by 10 and understand exactly what this means for boys and girls to look at as hope. There are only 30 of them this year, and there'll be 30 next year. But as a beacon of hope, as a possibility, as a pathway, that's what's going to happen. But reality on the ground, you'll have 6 more centers. You'll have 6 more people where you're pushing for grassroots development. So all of this, the federation has to be ready for. If tomorrow there are 20 kids in Mumbai who just love the game, we should be in a position to point them exactly where to go play. आप यहाँ पे जाओ, इस क्लब में जाओ, आपको यहाँ पे, आप कोल्हापुर में है तो यहाँ पे जाओ, आप क्योंझर में है, उड़ीसा में, आप यहाँ पे जाओ. So as a federation, are we ready? Yes, we are.
Rahul, can you give us a timeline as to when we will be able to see an Indian rugby team at the Olympics?
These are the bold statistics. 2 teams from Asia qualify for the Olympics on a quota system. The top 2 teams. Our women's ranking right now is number 10. Our men's ranking is number 15. Our women have to rise 1 place over the next 7 years to make it in 2032. Correct? Our men have to rise 1 place over the next 11 years or 1.5 places to make it in 2036. That's the goal. The goal is between 32 and 36, we have our teams in the Olympics. To put it into perspective, by 2032, India would not have had a team in the Olympics for 80 years, apart from hockey. I'm not counting cricket because cricket is, of course, getting an entry in under different metrics. But apart from hockey, can you believe it? Not a single Indian team in the Olympics the last 70 years. It's archers, shooters, wrestlers, boxers, athletes. More kudos to all of them. Of course, we love them all. Javelin throwers. But a team hasn't made it to the Olympics. That's what we want to do. And you can imagine in 32 or 36, if our team makes it into the Olympics, that's what we are building towards. And from the Olympics, the world. That is what we are building towards. That is the ecosystem that we are building. That is why the Rugby Premier League, Vidul. That is why, and by that time, imagine 5-6 seasons of men and hopefully women's Premier Leagues are happening, playing with the best in the world, training with them. The best in the world are here. Our Indian boys are training with them every day. I'm on my way to training to watch them train right now. It's something transformative to see. And then to have that culture going into 6 sub-regions of the country. As I said, if we do this right, we can't fail. If we do this wrong, it won't work.
There are plans of a women's edition as well of the Rugby Premier League. How soon can we expect that league to be established?
First of all, in terms of its logistics, it's very easy. हर शाम को आप 2 गेम रख रहे हैं. हर गेम का कुछ 27-30 मिनट का है टोटल बिगिनिंग टू एंड विद द ब्रेक्स. तो 3 गेम रख लो. इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है? जिस दिन पे 3 गेम्स है 4 गेम रख लो. 1.5-2 घंटों में सब खत्म हो जाएगा. You'll finish everything between 90 to 120 minutes. So to slot in a women's Premier League into the current format is easy. what is very, very important to look at are the economics. After all, a one team owner is now as very, very clear that for the first few years, this is going to be building the league. This is going to be more outlay than incoming of funds. So with that in mind, would team owners be willing to do the same for a women's league also? These are things that you have to look at very, very clearly. And we will never take a decision as the Rugby Premier League Governing Council. We will never take a decision without the buy-in first of our general body, our state representatives, and then next of our partners, GMR Sports, as well as our team owners. Everything has to happen collaboratively, like it has happened quietly outside the public eye for the last 2 years. Everything has been done with everybody in the know about all the decisions that are going to be taken. Do we want to have a women's Premier League? Today. Are we excited about getting the best women in the world playing with the women in India and transforming that? Today. There's no question about it. It just has to make sense economically and operationally, both for GMR, our partners, GMR Sports, our partners, as well as for our team owners. You know this as well as I do, Vidhu. This is not going to happen just because I'm sitting in an interview with you. This will happen after having taken the same, what should I say, the same factors into consideration as we did for the men's league.
Okay, Rahul, thank you very much for your time and all the very best for the inaugural season of the Rugby Premier League.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Cheers.